88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now. The last time President Trump was
It'll come. Go live. Go. You're live.
Hey, everybody. Is Allison in the 2 box right now? Kara here at DC Live. Oh, Allison's not here today with us. Okay, well, I'm here in front of the White House. Busy day for President Trump, who is down in Florida and on his way back. So we're going to try to catch him in a gaggle when he arrives here on Marine One in a little while and try to get some questions in. Maybe more details on if he saw any alligators or crocodiles down there in the Florida Everglades. Very controversial. Alligator Alcatraz is what they are calling this new facility that Ron DeSantis built to basically house illegal aliens and possibly ship them out. I guess they would. I don't know exactly the logistics of how this will work and if there will be a nearby courthouse or anything like that to try the illegal aliens that they house in this facility. Obviously, liberal groups are not happy right now with any of this. They are saying this is inhumane. There were protests outside of the Alligator Alcatraz today. To be fair, there are not so many protesters there. From what I understand, an indigenous native group staged a protest outside there, and there were some Trump supporters there as well, who are all for Alligator Alcatraz. Interesting facts about Florida.
Kara, we have to go from the side.
Alligators are actually, protected. Alligators and crocodiles have protected status, and illegal aliens don't. I find that to be interesting, actually. And panthers, there are panthers there as well in Alligator Alcatraz. So anybody that tries to escape will basically, I guess the correction officers will be nature's animals like alligators and crocodiles. Crocodiles are not indigenous, obviously, to Florida. They were brought here to the United States. I believe some crazy person decided they wanted to keep a crocodile as a pet and realized that it's probably not the best pet to have in your home or your backyard or even on your farm because they're vicious, wild, horrific creatures that will eat you for dinner very quickly. So they released them into the Florida Everglades, and then lo and behold, they replicated, and now there is a population of vicious crocodiles in the Florida Everglades, as well as alligators, pythons. I don't want to encounter a python. I don't know which is worse, an alligator, a crocodile, a python. I'm probably going to go with a crocodile because they're so vicious and fast. And panthers, which are, protected. They have legal sanctuary in the state of Florida. From what I understand, they're becoming endangered. So these animals do have protected status there in Florida. And I guess controversially, illegal aliens don't. That's something that I read today. So we'll see what happens with all of this and the images that come out of there. From what I understand, President Trump had a media entourage with him so that they could see this new facility, and it's transparent to the public. Obviously, liberal groups are going to fight this. They'll probably take it to the Supreme Court. So it should be interesting to see what pans out from all of this. And I'm interested to see what the American public, the voters, have to say about all of this. Do they support Alligator Alcatraz? Should illegal immigrants, specifically ones that have performed criminal acts, have done crimes, have possibly raped and murdered, deserve to go to Alligator Alcatraz, or should it be open to all illegal immigrants? I have not yet formed an opinion, but I will ask. We're supposed to be reporters. We don't have opinions. It's funny. Of course we have opinions, but we try to keep them to ourselves and just find out what other people are thinking. There's a guy with a red hat. I don't think it's a MAGA hat, though. I think he just might coincidentally be wearing a red hat. Hi, how are you? Alcatraz. It's a facility that Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump are touring right now in Florida in the Everglades. And it's to house illegal immigrants that commit crimes before they're deported. And there will be alligators, crocodiles, panthers, and other horrific wild beasts of the Everglades, sort of acting as security. What are your thoughts on this facility? I have not heard about it, but I've heard that it's countries from Punjab and Gujarat
and some parts of India and Mexico as well. But I haven't heard about any details.
Yeah, it's a new thing in the news today. Trump is there right now. The president's there with the governor of Florida, and they're visiting the facility. What are your thoughts on deporting illegal criminals from the United States?
Yes, I think they should be, because why would a country is not a it's not an orphanage to allow illegal immigrants inside. I'm from India. There are many illegal immigrants. Recently, they have been deported to Bangladesh and Pakistan. They were living illegally since last 10 years or something before the government, Congress government was there. So they did not really acted that way. But now, since the new government, after that terrorist attack, they started identifying all the other countries and they started replacing them. Because no countries are often still it comes from anywhere unstable. So it will also affect the population of the country. So it's good if you want to stay in the United States, but you have to stay in the family members also stay here. When they're staying illegally. Oh, okay, they back to giving any better to the
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. You're beautiful. Thank you for sharing your opinion and have a wonderful visit here. Thank you. So, obviously, people that come to this country legally are obviously going to support legal immigration.
Let's see if we can.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
What are your thoughts on alligator Alcatraz?
Have no clue what that is.
It's a detention facility in Florida. Are you from Florida?
Nope.
Deceptive. Gary, my camera guy, said talk to that guy because you
I
make
thought
these
it-
weird assumptions.
you-
Well, that guy's telling you, he's a liberal. They're deceptive. They said how they had that CIA agent. And I'm not trying to. I'm going to stand in the shade. I'm not going to say. I'm saying this jokingly. It's satire, but Officer Fanone, remember that guy with the tattoos that tried to portray himself as like some sort of guy that looks like the all-American guy with tattoos, drinking beers. Like he's a Trump supporter type guy, but yet he was a Kamala Harris supporter and just a treacherous person for the most part. A lot of people said that, not me. We know now, we don't have free speech in America. We can't say these things about people according to certain courts that find people liable for giving their opinions. We no longer, we live in a banana republic. The court is so upside down. But there are a lot of people out there, guys. And I do want to go up to that guy and try to figure out if my hearing is right. If he is a liberal that looks like, let's not stereotype people because there's a lot of people. Hi, how are you? We're gonna say hi to you guys today. You, remember Lindell TV. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. How you? Looking gorgeous as always. She's looking gorgeous as always. No joke.
Thank you so much. I'm good. So we're talking to people today about how
I haven't really got into the story, but I have heard of. I've heard of it. Yes.
Trump right now, President Trump is coming back from his visit. It's in Florida. It's Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, built a new detention facility in the Everglades called Alligator Alcatraz, basically for criminals that are illegal to house them there before they're deported. And basically, the security will be alligators, crocodiles, pythons, and panthers of the wild.
Okay.
So anybody that tries to escape, they might have to encounter a crocodile or an alligator. What are your thoughts?
Well, you should think twice about doing some dumb shit because you could end up there, and that just might be what's needed to deter crime. They're gonna mess around. Trump might mess around and actually do more good in reverse than going forward.
Right.
Okay, by doing stuff like this, it might have the opposite effect that he intended. It might end up uniting people instead of dividing them.
And just pointing out, this is not for American citizens. This is for people that came here illegally. So this would be a detention.
Well, but see, they're saying it's not for American citizens now.
Right.
All right, to get the door open. But once the door is open, you believe me, it's gonna be some American citizens that's gonna be shipped overseas. It's a valid concern, and I don't trust all politicians lie. Let me say that again. All politicians lie. Okay, so somewhere somebody lying.
Everybody. It's human nature.
If it's a politician, they lying.
Well, thank you so much. And how's your day going today? Yeah. How do you survive it? I always ask guys how they survive and button ups and vests and all this stuff.
Well, when you have a mission and you have a purpose, that stuff don't even cross your mind.
Next time, would you come out with a computer shorts
No.
and like a Hawaii fit?
No, that's against my brand. Like, this is my brand. You know, I just have to
And then you
look
look at Paul, get everything.
well, see, I look like a conductor. So it goes with my brand.
Doctor is here. Let's spread peace and love. Stop hating each other. You disagree, which we agree on. And what's how can we donate to Venmo?
At True Conductor.
At
You
Truth,
just at True Conductor.
at Truth Conductor on Venmo. He's a nice guy. He's always out here playing the national anthem,
Yeah,
spreading positivity,
trying to bring people together.
being fair when it comes to politics and asking questions, which is important.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Hey man, listen, y'all. This is a nice reporter from Lindale TV. Talk to her. I guarantee you.
Thank you. Thank you. He's telling people to talk to me. I wanted to talk to the guy that I assessed as a liberal, like
I think
ran away. But I see some.
that guy looks very interesting. Stop looking at us.
Here's one out there, Alcatraz. Have you heard of it?
No. What is alligator Alcatraz?
Right now, President Trump is coming back from Florida where he met with Ron DeSantis, and they have a new facility for illegal aliens that are here in crimes. It's called Alligator Alcatraz. It's a jail that is surrounded by alligators, crocodiles, pythons, and panthers as security guards.
Trump. They asked me something. So, I don't know what I should say about Trump, but free Palestine more than anything. Alhamdulillah for everything, and that's it. I can't speak on Trump because I ain't vote for him.
What about the Alligator Alcatraz? That's what we want to know. Do you think
Alligator Alcatraz, is that like a jail, a hold
jail for illegals that come here and and basically
Free everybody except for the rapists. Free everybody except for the rapists.
so rapists should go to Alligator Alcatraz?
Yeah, and child predators. Those people should go, but everybody else should be acquitted. Free the real. You said how about the murder? Guilty until found guilty. I mean, they innocent until found guilty.
But let's free the people with marijuana charges. I agree with all of that.
Free everybody except for the rapists. Yeah, and the child predators.
Child predators. And I say free people that have small marijuana charges.
Did he mean Bill Clinton and Biden?
Huh? Well, I would say send Kamala Harris and Joe Biden specifically to Alligator Alcatraz. He'll probably think he's at the spa somewhere.
Yeah.
He'll probably think he's in the Caribbean. You can just trick him into the wild animal. He's on a safari in Africa. You can tell him anywhere he is and he'll believe it. Sadly, I don't like making fun of someone with dementia. You never know. One of us might get dementia one day. It's very sad. But if anybody deserves to go to Alligator Alcatraz, say it would be Merrick Garland, a vile creature.
We need to talk to this person.
Merrick
Let's see.
Garland belongs in
See, like-
Alligator Alcatraz. What's your
Yes.
in Alligator Alcatraz?
I don't consent to being videotaped.
Oh, so you're for Alligator?
I don't consent to being videotaped.
Alcatraz. She has a sign that's some babble about billionaires and people that walk around and they don't consent to being videotaped, yet they're walking around in public with protest signs. It's absolutely absurd. It just goes to show the low IQ of the average American, who we support their right to protest with her sign. But she has to support the right to the fact that we have free speech. And if she's walking around in public with a sign, somebody is going to come up to her and ask questions. Obviously, it's absolutely ludicrous. That's a common thing that these leftists say. I don't consent to being filmed as they march down the public street. Hi, how are you?
Wonderful.
What's your thoughts on Alligator Alcatraz?
I really don't know what it is.
Okay, no one knows what it is. This is interesting. How are you, little boy? Alligator Alcatraz is where President Trump is just touring today with Ron DeSantis of the state of Florida. Where are you from?
Florida.
Oh, cool. So your governor started a new facility that is guarded basically by alligators, crocodiles, pythons, and panthers.
Fantastic.
And it's for illegal aliens that come
Great.
to the country and that commit crimes to hold them there. I'm assuming before they are deported or maybe for them to get a trial. Do you support this?
Yes.
And why?
Why? You let people into your house, leave your doors open, let them come in anytime they want?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I have a good
So-
security system.
Right. So we need a better security
Do you
system.
think that alligators are going to be more like vicious than correctional officers, or
I think it puts more fear into people,
Right.
yes.
And pythons? I was thinking maybe if I was like an illegal, I would try to seduce them with food and try to not eat me. It's interesting. I mean, I would not want to be an alligator Alcatraz. I don't
I
know.
wouldn't either.
Yeah.
So
So
I'd go back where I came from and come in legally.
do you watch Lindell TV, or if not, you should. Do you know Mike Lindell? He makes the best pillows on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should try out some of my
Okay.
pillows.
I do have two of them.
Okay, good. And they're very fluffy and they're not lumpy like the liberal media tries to say. But thank you for sleeping with my pillows and for your opinion today. Have a great trip back to Florida.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah, that guy was cool. Obviously. Let's go over here. There's some interesting people. Let's just go under the assumption that they're not going to support Alex due to the umbrella. I'm not going to be stereotyping. Maybe this is just a person who supports LGBTQ plus 5.0 rights or whatever, but maybe she does support Alcatraz. I guarantee, let's see, I don't know. I'm saying it's 50-50 that this person with the umbrella, which is very smart to have an umbrella today because it is scorching hot out. She's very smart. Let's see if she's smart in other ways too.
Marina.
She clearly is a liberal, or maybe not.
Yeah,
Maybe
100%.
it's like that. Back in the day, Sesame Street used the rainbow. They were not. It was not as the rainbow used to be for children and babies. You know, I used to love them. Hi, how are you today? What's your thoughts on alligator Alcatraz?
I'm not doing this right now. Thank you.
Oh, really? I assume because you had a son, you wanted to be
We
a
don't accept you videotaping us.
So
We've already
you're the
told you,
one
we don't
you
accept you. We don't accept you
We're not. You know, when
videotaping.
you're you know, when you're in public, you have no choice but to be videotaped.
Not to be
All right,
interviewed
I'm
though.
playing my Disney music.
Go ahead. What's your favorite Disney song? I love Ariel on The Little Mermaid.
You know, if you
Do you like her too?
you can't.
Do you know Disney is getting rid of DEI? Do you know Disney is done with the transgender agenda? Or at least they realize it's a bad business model. Do you still support Disney because of that? I'm just curious. We're just stay to hear what Disney song she covers. I'm curious. Might be one I'll never listen to again, but we'll hear what it is. Okay.
Okay.
So they all walk in lockstep with each other, basically. They had the same talking points. I am not consenting to being videoed as they walk around in public. This is a common liberal tactic. Be rude, be vile to people. Walk around with a sign. You actually ask them in genuine interest what their sign is about, who they are, what they stand for, and they're rude to you. And they say they don't consent to being videotaped. So it makes no sense. That's why their cause is dying rapidly. Nobody supports it, unfortunately. I don't know what you want here. I mean, nobody supports their cause anymore. America has given up on the transgender agenda. And Americans want to see the deportation of elites. Let's see what song it is. What song is it? I'm playing it.
Is she the one who's playing it?
Music on your podcast. Disney will hear you.
What's your Disney song?
Can we see the Disney? Can we see her playlist? Let's see her playlist.
We're not harassing. We're curious what her playlist is.
Yeah.
You're harassing me and I don't feel safe. Will you please leave me alone? I don't feel safe around you. You're harassing me and I don't feel safe.
Do you support Peter Alcatraz?
No.
Why not?
It's inappropriate and inhumane.
Why?
Because it's inappropriate. Don't put people in the middle of an alligator.
In the middle of
Of an
what
alligator.
if they don't try to escape? They don't get eaten by an alligator.
That is the point. It's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, alligators in the jail cells.
That's hilarious.
Welcome to Washington, D.C., everybody. Welcome to Washington, D.C., where the only normal person is me, Gary, my camera guy, and the truth conductor behind us, who's a really nice guy. He sits here in a train conductor outfit and he spreads peace and love. And obviously people who are foreigners and minorities have more common sense these days than white liberals. It's absurd. We spoke to an Indian woman right here who was very reasonable and said illegal immigration is the way to go, and this can't be an orphanage. You speak to a lot of African American young guys, and they agree that obviously America has to come first, but then you talk to white liberals who lose their freaking mind if you tape them with the camera and they start screaming, I feel unsafe. I feel unsafe because your microphone is dangerous. They're insane.
Is Allison coming on the sidewalks or not?
What time is it, guys? What time?
4 minutes.
I'm hot. I'm hot. I'm hot. It's hot in
4
DC.
minutes.
Maybe people are just in bad mood.
Hmm?
It's hot out.
Thank you.
I already know what type of reception I'm going to get. I'm feeling this crowd out right now. I'm going to do a little. I mean, I guess I have no choice because you guys are still tuning in to go up to another level. What? Alligator Alcatraz. It's the facility that President Trump is visiting right now. It's surrounded by alligators, crocodiles, pythons, and vicious panthers. Basically, it's to house illegal immigrants, and if they try to escape, I guess what they're thinking is the security will be free.
Right now.
Oh,
Thank you.
no problem. No comments, I guess. Let's see. Hey, how are you? Where are you guys visiting from?
Um,
Nice to meet you. Adios. See you soon. Any thoughts on Alligator Alcatraz? Oh, forget it.
No.
No English? No. Oh, guys. Here, he looks like media. Let's find one more person. Have a seat.
What about the hat? MAGA hat guy. Let's see.
He's hard.
Yes. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Alligator Alcatraz?
Yeah.
Good? Alligator?
Yeah, very good, very good.
Why?
I like this place.
Where are you from?
I am from Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And you love President Trump?
Yeah.
Did many
Yeah,
Bangladesh like
yeah.
President
Yeah,
Trump?
yeah. We like President Trump very much.
Have you heard of Alligator Alcatraz? It's a new jail in Florida
Okay.
for illegal aliens that commit crimes like murder.
Okay.
And it's surrounded by alligators, crocodiles, pythons, and panthers. Okay, is this good or bad?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make America great again?
Yes. Yes.
Make
Make
Bangladesh
it great again.
Yeah, make Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Make
Thanks.
great again. Every country has sovereignty. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Sovereignty of nations, like President Trump said, make Israel great again, make Iran great again, make Mexico great again. Every country has the right to make themselves great. That's what national sovereignty is called. We don't believe in the new world order like a lot of the globalists do. We have about a minute left. I'm going to walk over to the stage, or else I'm going to pass out right here on the floor. It's really hot. I'm wearing a tank top. I don't
Keep it straight.
how on God's planet these men walk around in these suits, these lobbyists, they're melting away here in DC, all these guys in their dark suits, the lawyers, the lobbyists, the politicians. I actually don't feel bad for them. They sort of deserve it. I'm going to go right under the tree, which is their shade. And what time is it, Gary?
We have a few minutes.
We do have a few minutes. So maybe we have to find somebody else to quote unquote make feel unsafe. Like the lady with the rainbow umbrella that started.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's why they do it, guys.
Okay.
Well,
one
very
second.
often I have been at leftist protests, and what they do is they actually play Disney music. And now I know why. They think they're so smart, but they're not that smart because they play it. They think that your actual broadcast will be pulled from YouTube because of copyright, because of the Disney songs. So that's one of the reasons they play these Disney songs. I've experienced a lot of leftist things in the past where they play Disney songs, they'll blare it, they'll try to harass you with like a Little Mermaid or Aladdin song, or, they'll try to like completely ruin your childhood memories of these songs by blaring them. And
Just she's hooked up. If you want to talk
obviously,
to her,
in
you
order
can tell her.
to attempt to violate your free speech. They want to violate your free speech because they want your broadcast to be taken down off of the internet because they're playing Disney music. It's sad, it's sick, it's sadistic, and it's anti-American is what it is. Is Allison in?
She's coming.
We have Allison?
Yes.
Let me know when she's
here.
I
Hi,
can't hear
Kara.
though.
Yeah.
I'm here. Can you hear
Could you
me?
make it louder?
Hey, Kara, can you hear
Dr.
me?
Jason and say like, if
I don't hear. It has to be raised up, guys. We're just having a little.
it's full.
It sounds like we're having some technical
Allison, are you there?
difficulties. I can hear you, Kara.
Okay, great. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
So I just talked to some interesting people outside the White House, Allison. A interesting motley crew out here today. People, leftist people that what they do, what I figured out. I don't know if you remember when we were at that protest in front of the Capitol where they were playing Disney songs. They do it because
Yes.
they want to violate your free speech. They play Disney songs because they figure it will get taken down because of the copyright. So if they blare like
Wow.
the Little Mermaid song in front of your face, then they're hoping that it will get ripped off the internet. It doesn't work, obviously, it's stupid, but this is their like insane logic. I literally went up to a person with a sign and was walking around protesting, and she started screaming at me that she felt unsafe because I was trying to interview her. I mean, it's insane. And don't come out of the house if you feel unsafe. I'm surprised she wasn't wearing 17 masks. I hope you're having a
Wow,
good
that
day, though,
is
Allison, over there at the Senate, where the big, beautiful bill was passed. That's the good news.
Yes,
Or
that is
somewhat
good news.
passed.
It sounds like you've had a very eventful day, and that is a crazy tactic, by the way, with the music being played. I had no idea that was the reason for that, but that's a very interesting discovery, Kara. But yes, to your point, the big beautiful bill did pass the Senate not too long ago. It was a very narrow vote, actually. J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, had to come in and be the tiebreaker for that. So it was 51 to 50. The only Republicans who voted no were Tom Tillis, Rand Paul, and Susan Collins. Of course, every Democrat voted no as well. But what this means now is that the big beautiful bill is going back to the House for another vote, which I think it'll pass very easily there since it did the first time around. And I think that means then it'll go on to the president's desk to be signed into law by that July 4th deadline we've heard so much about. So it sounds like it's moving right along, and we are going to see it passed by July 4th, which is surprising. I took a guess yesterday and said it probably wouldn't, because we know how things go here on the Hill, right? None of these people really ever want to work, and they'll try to delay the work as much as possible. But it sounds like things are moving along very well, and it did pass the Senate just about an hour ago. So that is excellent news. Kara, how are people feeling out there on the ground? Have you been asking them about the big, beautiful bill or Alligator Alcatraz?
Well, I'm more focused on Alligator Alcatraz. I focused on Alligator Alcatraz because President Trump is arriving pretty soon. I'm going to go try to catch him when he gets off on Marine One. But a lot of people didn't know about it. Of course, liberals were very offended by it, and conservatives are for it. So one guy I went up to was like, "It's vile, it's horrible. How could you put people there with alligators?" And I said, "Well, if you don't try to escape, you won't get eaten by an alligator." And he was like, "That's a horrible thing to say," and
True.
he stormed off. So obviously it's controversial, Allison, and I don't know what the logistics are and exactly how this is all going to work. I'm just relaying the facts to the people and asking them what they think. Obviously, I don't think somebody should get swallowed whole by an alligator. It's a horrible death. They drag you to the bottom of the swamp is what they do. Alligators, and they store you there to eat later. Like this is, I literally have a fear of alligators. So I researched this one day when I went kayaking in a swamp very stupidly. I actually went kayaking with an ex-boyfriend who, when he found out that there were alligators, he left me by myself in my kayak in the swamp. And I was by myself. And then I started Googling, and I was like, wow, they drag you to the bottom of the swamp and they store you there to eat later.
Wow.
So it's not a fun
I did
death, and I
not
wouldn't
know
wish
that.
on anybody. Yeah, so
I
it's
think
pretty
that
horrific. And
ex-boyfriend of yours needs to be thrown into Alligator Alcatraz just for leaving you and
right,
abandoning
for
you.
sure.
That's so mean.
For sure. He saw
Well,
the sign that said alligators. His face went white, and he like literally got out of the kayak and is like, "I'm not going. You can go if you want." And I did go. I did go, and I'm alive to tell the story.
Wow.
But there were a lot of alligators in the swamp that day. Not a smart move by
There
me.
are. There are a lot
Probably.
of them. And you know what? I've actually seen them out in the wild too. The one time I visited Florida, I did take a swamp tour of the Everglades. It was actually really cool. You go out in a little fan boat and you ride around in the swamp and the nature. You see all these beautiful birds and creatures out there in their element. And then there are alligators too, of course, because it is Florida. But They don't try to eat you as long as you don't mess with them. I don't know if the Alcatraz alligators have been trained differently. Maybe they are a little bit more aggressive, but I guess
Well, there's not
you
only
shouldn't.
alligators, Allison, there's crocodiles, there's pythons and panthers. So there's all these vicious animals. So it should be interesting. It would probably be bad PR if someone actually got eaten by one of these animals, but hopefully they'll stay smart and not try to break out because I don't think I would want to face any of these wild creatures. I think the scariest would probably be the crocodile or the panther because they're fast. But all these
Yeah.
animals are deadly.
Yeah,
So.
it certainly wouldn't be a good scenario, regardless of what chose to come after you. But what's even more frightening, Kara, is I actually heard a video today from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She actually said that in the event of someone attempting to be deported, right? We know that these illegals have been trying to flee ICE and escape their inevitable arrests. On the way back to this deportation center, this illegal alien attempted to eat itself. So I guess if you're not getting eaten by crocodiles or alligators in alligator Alcatraz, these crazy psychopaths are eating themselves because they're cannibals, apparently. If we have that clip, let's go ahead and play that from Kristi Noem. I don't know if we have it.
Well, Allison, I'm gonna run it.
Okay, all right, we do not have the clip.
I'm gonna look that clip up because that's interesting, and I definitely want to see that. That sounds really sadistic. I'm gonna run because I'm gonna try to catch President Trump when he comes back to the White House. I would love to get more details from him when he arrives on Marine One and ask him what he saw. I'm still trying to look up videos that maybe other media sources put out there that were with the president at this facility. I'm very curious to what it looks like. I'm wondering if he ran into any wild animals. So I'm going to try to get those questions in. So I will see you in a little while, Allison.
Okay, great, Kara. Thank you so much. Thanks for all your hard work out there. Stay cool. I know it's hot. Okay, continuing on with the alligator Alcatraz. I know there was a lot of, I mean, this is obviously the hot topic of the day, aside from the big beautiful bill, of course. I did want to clarify because there's a lot of fake news going around on this issue. This is a pretty incredible accomplishment because it was just 8 days ago that this request was put into the DOJ. They approved it. They approved the facility being built, and they got it up and running within a week. So this is pretty incredible. It's a 3,000 bed detention center. And it even has its own runway. So this is amazing. It makes it very easy to bring these illegal aliens into the facility, easy to take them out. They can just arrive on the plane right out front of the detention center, and then they can be removed whenever the deportation process is complete. So that is very cool. Trump landed on that runway this morning in Air Force One just around 10 a.m. So he tested it out, and he's there right now touring the facility. He's with Ron DeSantis and Secretary Kristi Noem. They are, talking about this, spreading awareness about it, telling the truth about it, since, the fake news is going to try to manipulate that. They did say that it is very nicely air conditioned, so if the fake news attempts to smear them and say these are horrifying conditions that, these poor people are suffering, and that's not true. They're there right now. It's air conditioned. It's actually rather nice inside. And it's a nice holding place for these criminal aliens who should never have been let in the first place. So there's that. President Trump also made a funny joke saying that he actually made a couple funny jokes. I think he's having a great time. He said he thought Joe Biden was going to try to lock him up in there. But we know Biden is the real swamp creature, so he should be in alligator Alcatraz. And then he also encouraged Gavin Newsom to go visit and take notes so that perhaps he could do the same for the real Alcatraz in California. So it sounds like they're having a great time over there. I'm sure we'll see more footage unveiled as that meeting progresses. And then, of course, as Kara mentioned, President Trump is landing back down at the White House at around 2:45 p.m. Eastern today. So hopefully she can catch him on his way back in and get a question from the president as he makes his way back to the White House. For the time being, though, we do have some footage of the grand tour of alligator Alcatraz. Earlier today, President Trump, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem were all there, like I said. Let's take a listen to Alligator Alcatraz and the roundtable that took place there with the three of them earlier today. We have that footage now. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Thanks so much. I'm Allison Steinberg with Lindell TV.
For a long time. We had a little off period for a couple of days, but it didn't last long. It didn't last long, and a lot of respect for each other. And it's a great honor to be deep in Florida, the Florida Everglades, to open America's newest migrant detention center. It's incredibly built, and you're seeing that yourself. That's why I said, let the press join us on our walk so they can see what's happening. It's known as Alligator Alcatraz, which is very appropriate because I looked outside and that's not a place I want to go hiking anytime soon. But very soon this facility will house some of the most menacing migrants, some of the most vicious people on the planet. We're surrounded by miles of treacherous swampland, and the only way out is really deportation. And a lot of these people are self-deporting back to their country where they came from. Quite a few. We're amazed at actually the number. We took the FEMA money that Joe Biden allocated to pay for the free luxury hotel rooms, where he's paying hundreds of millions of dollars in New York City, and we used it to build this project, and Narana was just a little fraction of that money. The money they spent on that project, I happen to know the real estate developer. He's a he never really made that much, but he became very wealthy. With luxury, he didn't do well. With people that are not exactly luxury, he's made a fortune. I want to thank Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier. Where is James? Where is he? You do a very good job. I hear good things. I hear good things about you from Ron too. No, you really do. He's even a good-looking guy. That guy's got a future, huh? Good job, James. I hear you did really, really fantastic. Worked hard. You're like in the construction business for a few days, right? Congratulations for all the hard work and to make this facility possible. It's amazing. Thanks as well to Florida Agricultural Commissioner Wilton Simpson. Where is Wilton? Where are you, Will? Hi, Wilton. Been a long time. Thank you. Congressman Byron Donalds. Where's Byron? Hi, Byron. How are you? Good. Florida Speaker of the House, Daniel Perez. Daniel? Daniel, thank you, Daniel. Why, you didn't want to sit up here with us, Daniel? Executive Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, Kevin Guthrie. Hi, Kevin. Good job. Acting Director of ICE, Todd Lyons. Todd, great job. And Senator Joe Gruters. He is a great guy. Where is Joe? We love Joe. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Joe is great. With the help of those incredible Border Patrol agents, we now have the lowest level of daily border crossings ever recorded. As you know, last month, the month of May, just got released 2 days ago, the number of illegal aliens into the United States was zero. Zero. Even I find that hard to believe. Somebody must have gotten in, I think. I don't know, but they say zero. And the people that count them are radical left Democrats. So when a radical left Democrat tells me it's zero, I believe him. But there's still much work to do. In the 4 years before I took office, Joe Biden allowed 21 million people, that's a minimum, I think it was much higher than that, illegal aliens to invade our country. He invaded our country just like a military would invade. It's tougher because they don't wear uniforms. You don't know who they are. More than the populations of New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, and Philadelphia combined. That's what came into our country from prisons, from mental institutions, from street gangs, drug dealers. It's disgusting. This enormous country-destroying invasion has swamped communities nationwide with massive crime, crippling costs, and burdens far beyond what any nation could withstand. No nation could withstand what we did, and we're in the process of doing it, but we have some great people doing it now, and you see them up here with me, but it's, I'd call it like an unforced era. It's sort of like men and women sports. It's sort of like transgender for everybody. How could they have done this to our country? And we're never going to forget it. Last year, 15% of all the hotel rooms in New York City were used to house illegal aliens at costs that they never got for luxury. They never got this much for luxury people coming in from the wealthiest places on earth. They made more money with the illegal immigrants, with many rooms costing more than $300 a night, 6 times the rent of a typical American family. In Denver, Colorado, the city was forced to cut $10 million from its police and fire department budget as part of a $90 million plan to house illegal aliens. And it's a population that's growing and growing and destroying Denver and growing. And again, it's destroying Denver. And it's destroying many other cities too. Likewise, one of the city's largest hospital system is drowning in unpaid medical bills, unpaid in the billions, after their emergency rooms were flooded with tens of thousands of illegals, leading to the closure of critical services. And these are really critical services. They can't even keep them open for American patients. The American patients were treated worse than any illegal immigrant. In Los Angeles, 1 in every 4 students in the public school system is from a household headed by an illegal, and most of them don't speak English, so they're in a school system, and they don't have interpreters, they don't have anything, they don't speak English. What a mess, what a mess. Unforced error, all these people allowed to come in. The United States is now spending $78 billion a year on translation. Okay, think of that, $78 billion a year on translation, and smaller numbers on special education programs for non-English speakers in our public schools. So $78 billion, I think that's not a mistake. I would say $1 million maybe, hundreds of thousands of dollars, $78 billion, Joe, on translators and non-English speaking work. Federal government, the Justice Department, it's more than twice the cost of maintaining the United States Justice Department, what we're spending on translation and other things to help. In total, the average illegal alien costs American taxpayers an estimated $70,000. That's each, $70,000. I think that number is even low. If you care about balancing the budget, the single most impactful step we can take is to fully reverse the Biden migration invasion. One of the worst invasions we've ever had. We've never had an invasion like this. We've had invasions, but we've taken care of them. We've never had an invasion like this, and it's with us. And we have some very bad people out there looking to do big harm. That's why the One Big Beautiful Bill includes funding for 3,000 new Border Patrol officers and 10,000 new ICE agents. And I've gotten to know the Border Patrol and ICE very well. Unlike Kamala, she was the border czar, but she never saw the border. She never made one phone call. She was some border czar. She would have been some president. Probably would have been slightly better than Biden, though. I had to run against both of them, you know? The one guy, it's like a fighter. You knock out the one guy who's doing badly, then they put somebody else in. But fortunately, she was a stiff also. Otherwise, I would have been very angry. I would have been extremely angry. The heroes of ICE will also help round up and remove members of the savage drug cartels which are coming back into our country. And we got them out. Now some of them came back in. We just got them out again. And that's going to be a vicious cycle. But these are foreign gangs. They're horrendous people, killers, that have infiltrated our territory, including 8 which we have designated as foreign terrorist organizations, which gives us a lot more power for speed and getting them out much easier. And we had a great court victory, as you know, on Friday that allows us to do what we have to do from the Supreme Court of the United States. In 5 months, my administration has already arrested over 2,700 members of the murderous Venezuelan gang known as Tren de Aragua, including a pack of these sadistic animals arrested last month with over 280 guns. And these are guns of the latest caliber. These are guns that were made over the last period of less than a year, getting brand new guns, the latest and the greatest. Every day, our brave law enforcement officers are hunting down and deporting migrant criminals who have committed heinous crimes, including more than 13,000 murderers, 11,888 to be exact, but I'd probably say the 13,000 is right also. Think of it, 11,888, and more than half of them, they committed more than one murder. So Ron, many of them are out of here already, but it's still it's a hell of a number to be confronted with. Just this year, ICE agents in Miami have apprehended illegals with arrests for murder, kidnapping, rape, child sexual abuse, and arson, people of the worst order. We're getting these monsters out of the United States, out of Florida, out of all the places that they're in. And on January 20th, I signed an executive order empowering governors and state police to be deputized to enforce federal immigration laws. And Ron's already taken advantage of it. It's a tremendous advantage for the states. Most of them are doing it. Actually, the blue states tend not to do it. Even a couple of them have, though. And I want to express my tremendous thanks to the state of Florida for embracing this opportunity and being a true partner. They've worked so well with the federal government. It's been just a beautiful, beautiful partnership. So, Ron, I'd like to thank you personally. You are my friend, and you'll always be my friend. And we may have some skirmishes even in the future. I doubt it, but I will always come back because we just we have blood that seems to match pretty well. We have a relationship that's been a very strong one for a long period of time, and I appreciate it, very much appreciate it. And also, Secretary Noem, I'd like to have you say a few words. You have been unbelievable, the job you've done. You and our favorite person, Tom Homan, have done, and your whole staff, because it's a lot of people, and Tom acknowledges it all the time. He respects you so much. He respects the staff that you both built. And you're really doing one of the great jobs. And it was great that you could work with Ron in Florida so well. Built such a great facility. So please say a few words. Thank you very much.
I don't know if this will work. Well, thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to thank you for putting the safety and the security of the American people first. And the way that you never lose focus on making sure that America stays our priority and that the families that live here get the chance to grow up and to raise their children in communities that are safe and that give them an opportunity to pursue the American dream. This facility here is a fantastic representation of what can happen when all of government works together and when it's accountable to the taxpayers and to the citizens that live here. The president signed an executive order that allowed us to build partnerships with states and with local law enforcement officers, which is exactly how things should function in this country. More power, more authority given to people locally so that they can take control of their own destiny. And so we have already been working under the 287G program to deputize law enforcement officers, whether they be state highway patrol, local sheriff's departments in all of our states, and allow them to go out with our ICE officers, our border patrol officers, and make sure that we're getting the worst of the worst off of the streets. We also recognize that as we've been doing that and returning people back to their home countries, that we need detention facilities. We need beds to put them in place so that they can have their due process before they return home. And this facility is exactly what I want every single governor in this country to consider doing with us. What happened to start this conversation was that a young man named Jimmy Percival in my office, my general counsel, who came from Florida and used to work here, called up the Attorney General and the governor and said, hey, what do you think about partnering with us on a detention facility that we could put in place that would allow us to bring individuals there? There's an airstrip close by. You guys volunteered the assets that you have and the connections that you have and worked with Kevin extensively so that we could come here, have their due process given, and return them home to their countries. And in 8 days, this facility has been stood up. And I want everybody to recognize that detention facilities that ICE adheres to is a higher standard than is required at state levels, at local Department of Corrections facilities, sheriff's offices. This is a state-of-the-art facility, air-conditioned, isolated, though, for security purposes, which is very helpful. And I appreciate so many people being willing to work together to make a project like this happen. Right here on this location, we'll have about 3,000 beds. Other location will have another 2,000 beds that will allow us to bring individuals across the country that we are bringing in and incarcerating for violating our laws and immediately get them out of the country as soon as we possibly can. It's exactly what we need to be perpetuating in other states. And what I would say is, I want all of you to notice these flyers that we've got, is that everybody who sees these flyers or anybody who sees these news clips should know you can still go home on your own. You can self-deport. If you go on the CBP Home app and go home now, you will get the chance to come back to the United States legally. You will get the chance to come back and do it the right way. If you don't, you may end up here. And you may end up here and being processed, deported out of this country, and never get the chance to come back. That is the consequences of breaking the law in the United States of America. Listen, our job is to uphold the law. This is a country of laws. We have a border now, and because we have a president that cares and recognizes that we need to be a nation of borders and a nation that upholds the law. If you break the law, there's consequences. We will deport you, and you will never get to be a United States citizen. You'll never even get to come back here and work and to pursue the American dream. But if you decide you want to go home now, go home, and we'll help facilitate it. We'll buy your plane ticket. We'll get you there. In fact, I just got back from Panama, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras. Those countries are excited to get their citizens home. They're setting up programs to loan them money to buy houses when they get there, help them with food assistance, get their children educated, scholarships. They want their citizens that are living here in the United States illegally to come home and to be a part of their economy and help their countries grow. So this is a win-win for everyone, and I just want to end, Mr. President, by thanking our law enforcement officers, by thanking our ICE officers and our Border Patrol officers for what they do every day. They are out on the streets, and violence against them has increased over 500% since Trump has gone back into the White House, because he's upholding the law and because a bunch of liberals, socialists, and Marxists are out there lying about what President Trump is doing. President Trump is upholding freedom by what he is doing. The freedom to live safely in this country and to do things legally and to have justice. And because those liberals, and I'm calling out you, CNN, I'm calling you out because you lie every single day about what these operations are. We are going after murderers and rapists and traffickers and drug dealers and getting them off the streets and getting them out of this country because Joe Biden let the worst of the worst come in here. The other day I was talking to some marshals that have been partnering with ICE. They said that they had detained a cannibal and put him on a plane to take him home, and while they had him in his seat, he started to eat himself, and they had to get him off and get him medical attention. These are the kind of deranged individuals that are on our streets in America that we're trying to target and get out of our country because they are so deranged they don't belong here. And they shouldn't be walking the streets with our children. And they shouldn't be living in the communities with our families who just want to grow up, go to job, raise their children to grow up and get a job and to live the American dream. So thank you to all of our law enforcement officers, those in our military that have been helping, our National Guard. Thank you to Governor DeSantis for stepping up and being an example to other governors. I hope my phone rings off the hook from governors calling and saying, how can we do what Florida just did? How can we do exactly what they did? Because we need this big, beautiful bill. We absolutely have to have this big, beautiful bill that has the funding so that we can continue this operation and we can get those bad criminals off of our streets and have the officers to do it so that when they go out on an operation, somebody's got their back. Somebody's got their back, they can do it safely, and they can go home to their families at night too. So this bill needs to pass through Congress so we have the resources at the Department of Homeland Security to make sure that our homeland truly is secure. And Mr. President, thank you for Stephen Miller. I just want to thank you for him. This guy calls me night and day and tells me all of his wise advice and wisdom, but he's a rock star because he loves this country and he's passionate about making sure that nobody is prioritized over an American citizen. We love everybody. We do. We love everybody.
Not everybody.
But, well,
a lot of people.
But we shouldn't be putting people illegally above citizens. We should be making sure that we do things right, and that's what America has always stood for, and we're an example to the rest of the world because we do it right. So, Mr. President, you surround yourself with great people, and I think that's because everybody wants to work for the greatest president that the United States has ever had, and that's President Donald J. Trump.
Thank
you
very
sir.
much, Christy. That's
Thank
so
you.
nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I have to say that, you know, when Christie's name was put before me by Tom Homan, by the way, because I wanted him for the border, and somehow I thought that was going to be good in that sort. But he didn't want the upper job, and I said, who do you recommend? Christy Noem. I said, oh, are you kidding? She's great, but she's such a fine, elegant person. He said, sir, she's tough as hell. I said, are you sure? You are tough as hell, I tell you, and you do it in a very nice way. But you are. If you ever saw her ride a horse, she rides a horse like she should be in the rodeo. She's like an unbelievable horse person, and you've done a fantastic job. And Steve Miller would even agree to that. And he likes nobody, by the way. I don't think he likes anybody. And another one we like is Ron. And Ron, would you say a few words, please?
Sure. Well, thank you, Mr. President. Welcome back to Florida. And I think this is the first time you've been back since the events of a couple weeks. So just let me say, as somebody that was serving on active duty in Iraq back in the day, we witnessed the number of our troops that were killed or wounded by the Iranians. We know that they're a militant Islamic regime that was hell-bent on getting nuclear weapons, and under Joe Biden, they were about to get nuclear weapons. And because of your strong actions, those dreams and those ambitions have been reduced to rubble. And I thank you. I know a lot of veterans thank you, and people in Florida really thank you for stepping up and really making a strong, tough, but strong decision. I think we're much safer as a result of that. Now, on the immigration, I think President Trump's election represented the chance for us to finally solve this illegal immigration and border problem once and for all. I knew he was going to do the border, although he did it very quickly and very thoroughly. I think that no one can say that that's been anything but a spectacular success. But then we have the issue of Biden let in how many millions of people? And you had millions that had been in over decades previous to that. You can't have a country if you don't have respect for the rule of law. You can't have a country if foreigners get to decide who comes in. No, we, the American people, make that decision, who's allowed or not allowed to come into our country. We've seen Europe be overrun by open borders, so we're not going to let that happen here. So when President got elected, I knew that the states had an important role to play in facilitating this really, really historic mission. We're the only state in America, Florida, that requires full cooperation with ICE from all state and local law enforcement entities. And what is the net result of that? We have these agreements for these 287G task force with sheriff's departments, police departments, state agencies, and it's really instrumental in rounding up a lot of really bad people who shouldn't be here. If you look at the number of those full-blown 287G agreements that have been executed around the country, the state of Florida counts for 60% of those. If you look at the number of immigration arrests of illegal aliens on any given day, the arrests happening in Florida constitute between 15 and 20%. Nationwide. So we're all in on this because we understand how important it is to our citizens. It crowds schools, it crowds medical, it crowds housing. Yes, you have illegal alien crime as well, and people want the problem solved. And the only way we're going to solve it is if states like Florida step up and help the president, help Secretary Noem get the job done. Now, this facility here was really in response to us working with DHS and ICE from the time the president got sworn in. And the number one thing they kept coming back to was, you know, Biden decimated the agency. I mean, let's just be clear. You could have illegals in Florida. Biden would just release them. Even when they had notices or they had orders to be removed, Biden wouldn't send them back. So their interior enforcement collapsed under Biden. So they're building it back up. But they're like, we need detention space in order to be able to bring about more deportations. And so what we